So the monk is got similar issues with the barbarian in that he's shorter range and he has to get in close to enemies. But he operates a little differently in some ways that allows him to be able to kind of deal with the threats a little differently than the barbarian does. First one is he's got a lot of mobility. So he has a lot of awesome movement abilities like dashing strike, which allows him to jump right into enemies. And the interesting thing about it is whenever enemy you click on, he actually will go to the other side of the enemy. So it's a really good ability to get out of a bad situation, because even if guys are really close to you and you dashing strike them, you jump on the other side. He's got lots of kind of passive movement skill increases. But he's also just built into his abilities is a lot of what we call interrupts. You know, the monk is all about like fast combo, you know, crazy melee action. And so a lot of his abilities, when he hits monsters, he actually interrupts what they're doing. So he can come in and do a bunch of flurry of punches and actually not take damage back. So utilizing the right kind of combo skills so that he can do that. And a really great one is Way of the Hundred Fists, or Fists of Thunder is also an excellent one for kind of interrupting. A lot of those skills you can build a dash into them so that you can dash straight to enemies right at the beginning of the fight. So you take that and then you combine in all the kind of passive kind of damage that the monk can get. He has a lot of ability to kind of just radiate damage around him. He can use abilities like Sweeping Wind, which he activates, and whenever he hits an enemy, it refreshes. So it creates this area around him of just damaging kind of vortex. And as he crits enemies, then the vortex gets bigger and more powerful. So there's some great runes for that one where you can change the nature of the vortex so that it does more damage. You can change it so that it heals you. So there's a lot of cool ways you can kind of take that ability and enhance it. He's got auras that will reflect damage back or just damage enemies that are nearby. So he has a lot of kind of ways to just dish out damage. He also has incredibly powerful defensive abilities. He can make himself completely invulnerable to damage for short periods of time. He can use Seven-Sided Strike, which is a very offensive ability, but actually makes it, while it's going on, he can't take damage. He can also use abilities like, he's great, one of my favorite combos with him, you dashing strike into enemies, and then you do a exploding palm, which basically puts a dot on the enemy, and if the enemy dies before the dot expires, he explodes and deals damage to everyone around him. And then once you've put the dot, you can put a rune on the dot so that it spreads. And then you Seven-Sided Strike, so you do massive damage to everyone while you're invulnerable. And then everybody starts exploding, and it's you know, good times for all. So those are some really effective combinations for the monk, especially if you get in some good damage reflection stuff in there, and he can really dish it out.